This is Tech Talk Detroit with Brian Spurgeon and Chuck Lobert. Tech Talk Detroit brings you the latest in tech news and Detroit happenings every week.
Happy to have you with us again. Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing good as always. Weather's been nice and cool, and I got no real complaints here. It's been nice, and a little bit change of pace. What's new with you, Chuck?
Oh, not a lot. As you know, because I've talked to you a little bit about it, I decided to pick up fishing for just kind of out of the blue for no reason on Monday. So I went and bought a fishing pole, and I've gone out twice now, caught a small bass both times, so that was kind of cool. Apparently our lake has a lot of bass, or I just keep catching the same one, I'm not sure.
Oh, you're born natural, you know? You never know. Don't sell yourself short.
Pretty sure that's not it.
Yeah, you got to enter in those Bassmaster tournaments now.
Right.
You know.
If catching 8-inch bass is what wins it for you, I'm all over it. Other than that, not doing a ton. Just still biking. Like I've been doing, and just enjoying the outside while I can, because I'm only about 2 months away from hating the outdoors again for the next 6 months or whatever it is.
Yeah. Before you know it,
Unless I can get back into snowboarding, maybe that'll help save winter for me. I don't know. We'll have to see.
That's the key, man. Winter hobbies get you through it.
See, I love snowboarding, but doing it around here is it just feels so pointless to me. And maybe that's a bad attitude. I don't know. But I love going out west. I would love to go like way up north into Copper Harbor and snowboard up there or something like that. Or even just north, like Boyne or something like that would be nice. But to go around here, Alpine Valley, Mount Brighton, you pay the same amount as you pay to go to like Aspen, but you're snowboarding on a garbage dump. Like it just doesn't appeal to me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that doesn't get you. That doesn't sell you.
Not really. Well, we'll see. Maybe this year, because I'll have nothing else to do. Maybe I'll try it again. But we thought we'd take some time today and talk about end user devices. What goes through the process of picking the right devices. What do we recommend? What are the things that you want to think about? Whether you're talking about a new desktop, a new laptop, new tablet or phone, or even TVs or smart boards. There's a lot of different devices out there that you might be looking at for your business, and specifically around the interaction with your end users. So we thought we could take some time today and kind of talk about that a bit more, and really kind of get into, what are the absolute things you need to make sure of on these devices, and then, where do you kind of let things go a little bit as far as personal preference for the specific end users. Do you want everybody to have the same device? Should you allow people to kind of pick and choose what they want? So, I thought we could talk about that today, and that's something that, Brian, your team spends a lot of their time doing, is really helping businesses pick out what the right device is for any particular end user. So, I thought where we could kind of start is at that point of, what do you need to make sure of for every device? That every device, no matter what, if it's going to be used in a business scenario, it has to have this type thing. And then from there, we can kind of talk about, if there's particular models that we like or anything like that. But, what should every device have inside of a business when it comes to the end user to experience?
I mean, first of all, it's got to be Windows PC, for my preference, in terms from a business standpoint. So I think we just kind of focus on from that standpoint. Obviously, Macs can be integrated in a business environment, and maybe we can get into that in a little bit. But just kind of focusing on your traditional PC for a business. The first step before you even pick out the hardware is you have to make sure the operating system is going to be good on whatever it is that you buy, and it's going to require a professional level, Windows 10 operating system. I think a mistake a lot of businesses make is, they're flipping through the Best Buy paper and they see a great deal on a computer and they want to go rush out to buy it because it seems like a great deal, and it is a great deal, but it's a good deal for your home, not for the business. And there's a lot of services and features that are part of Windows 10 Professional that needs to be in place in order for it to work in your business on a domain. So Windows Home is not going to function. It's not going to let you join it to the domain. You're not going to be able to get to your map drives, all those types of things that you would expect it to do. So I think that's probably the first step, is to make sure you pick the right operating system.
I
was just
say, I think along with that, if you have a Windows Home operating system, you've got home grade hardware too. So
totally.
That's the other thing that you got to think of. And you might think, well, is there really a difference between home grade hardware and business hardware? But there certainly is. So just kind of to add on to your point about the operating system, if you get something and you go to Best Buy, because you might think, well, I could just go buy this and then upgrade it to Windows 10 Pro, and you can, but now you're also dealing with home grade hardware, home grade warranty service, all of that kind of stuff as well.
Not to mention the cost to upgrade to Windows 10 Pro. That's going to add a few $100 to the cost of it, and now the deal that you thought you had, it's out the window. So that's totally it. Windows Home computers are a big no for a business, both from the hardware that you're getting, the reliability standpoint, the warranties options that you have on home computers versus business. So yeah, I think that's the starting point there, is to separate yourself. You got to look at a business grade unit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So from there, then I think, just focusing on end users, it's really trying to figure out then is what makes more sense, desktop versus laptop. And, from that, there's a lot of that. I think ultimately both will work for most users in a business setting, and I think the key is if you're a business that's 8 to 5, you turn the lights on in the morning, everybody shows up, you work, and 5 o'clock, the day's done. You shut the door and everybody checks out and goes home. If that's how your business operates, then, I think more often than not, the desktop makes the most sense, because for one, you do get some cost savings typically going the desktop route. Mm-hmm. And if everybody's going to be fixed at a desk, the desktops, you can get such good configurations for them now in terms of just the hardware, but also the size and the form factor. We're a big fan of a lot of these micro PCs that are out now. I mean, they're, what would you say, maybe 6 inches by 6 inches by maybe 2 inches thick. They're just a little square that takes up almost no desk space at all. And they have great power. So I think, in a traditional brick and mortar type setting, I think desktops more often than not make the sense from just cost and functionality standpoint.
One thing to consider though too is, if you are a business that can work from home, right? We just went through this with everybody having to, all of a sudden go work from home. The more desktops you have, the harder that could be. So if you're a business like a manufacturing type business, you're going to have desktops hooked up to your machines, that type of stuff. You can't really take that and go work from home, so it doesn't matter. So desktop certainly would make sense there. But if you are a business where the work that anybody is doing can work from home, that's one spot where now it might make sense to spend a little bit more on a laptop, because it opens up that ability then to take that device home and work.
That's totally it. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest differentiation is if you're working from home, if there's that possibility where if somebody's sick and they don't want to come into the office, but they still are able to work, and you can extend your business to the home securely, then 100% that's where the laptops and the mobile devices come into play. And I think just to take it a step further, let's just say you don't work from home, but you have this office setting where you have a bunch of conference space and collab areas and such, where you kind of have this culture where you want people to get up and move to a different spot of the building seamlessly. Then I think that's another situation where the laptops make sense regardless of the work from home element as well. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how we function a lot too in our office is, you see people carrying a laptop all over the place to go to another area to meet on something new. And it's nice when you can keep that connection throughout the office, no matter where you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a lot of businesses, some like to have, a set standard, right? There's everybody has the same make, same model, everything. Others, like even what we do is we kind of, when we hire somebody new, we say, is there anything in particular that you want? We'd say, go pick out what you want. We just give them, it's got to have this, and this type of thing. What are the advantages? What are the drawbacks, I guess, to either the standard model or the personal preference model? Outside of, obviously the standard model, deployment can be easier if you're doing a lot at once. You can do, imaging and stuff like that. But if you're doing a couple here, a couple there, a lot of times imaging isn't going to make the most sense. But outside of that, is there any advantage to doing the standardized, everybody gets this make, this model if you're in this department type of scenario versus the, do you want a 13-inch or a 15-inch, or do you want this color or that color, or Microsoft device or Dell device, like letting people choose more?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think both routes have their pros and cons. I think if you go the route of standardizing the computer deployment that everybody gets, I think the obvious advantage there is you kind of eliminate the, well, Joe got the nice 13-inch laptop. How come I didn't get the 13-inch? Why do I have the standard 15-inch? And I think, that's just, we've all heard that. That's a very common theme. So I think it's an easy way to curb that. On the flip side, though, I think, we all do have different preferences, right? I think, everybody look at an automobile, right? You got 10 people that work together. There's a lot of different variation on what people want in a vehicle, right? At the end of the day, it all gets us from home to work and back every day. But, some people want the big, beefy pickup truck. Some people want the little, Mini Cooper, right? So
some people want to drive a car that they have to fix every other week, Brian.
I mean, some people have 2 cars in their garage right now that they think they're going to fix one day, So, there's things like that, certainly. And I think, if you have a pretty flexible budget when it comes to the devices and you don't need to meet a specific number, I do think it's a nice option to give the variation. For me personally, I prefer the 13-inch high resolution laptops because they're ultra portable. When I'm working on it, it's very crisp, clear picture. But when I do sit and I go and dock to a screen, I can dock to, a very large, 32-inch 4K resolution monitor, and the display is perfect. It's almost as if I have 2 computers. The real estate on that screen is so large, and that's the way I prefer. But a lot of people, they prefer the bigger screen, the 15-inch. I mean, some people even still like the 17-inch for some reason. But so I think if the cost changes though pretty dramatically, in particular with laptops when you're getting into screen size and resolution. So, if cost aside, I think it's a nice benefit to give employees, to let them choose what they want. And I think the way we do it too is we don't have them go online and start scrolling through computers that they want. We'll pick a particular model line, but we'll give them a couple options in terms of the screen they want. So I think that's a very good way to do it. Especially somebody who has maybe an issue with their sight, right? That's a guy in our office, and he said, I can't see a small screen that well. I prefer a larger screen. So I think that's an accommodation where if we didn't offer it up, I would have never thought that to be the case. And in retrospect, I would have felt bad if maybe we just standardized the 13-inch, So
right.
That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, and I think, a couple other things that we always recommend these days, solid state drives for sure. Going to make a big difference from performance-wise. What's the minimum recommendation that you would say from a RAM standpoint?
I mean, our starting point now in terms of where we like to start in terms of a recommendation would be 16 gigs for RAM and an i5 processor and a 256 gig solid state drive, like you said. That's kind of the 3 main components. That's where we like to start out at. Certainly, you could come down from 16 gigs. I think 8 gigs would work in a lot of situations. But what I find is just with the sheer amount of data that we're pulling in from the cloud now, right, via email, if you're doing anything with Office 365 and SharePoint, and if you see the people you work with all the time, they've got 45 tabs open. I may or may not be one of those people. I think Google Chrome alone can sit there and hover around 8 to 10 gigs itself if you got it open all day with a bunch of tabs.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I think sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that's kind of a good starting point is 16 gigs, because it's going to give you room for growth. We're always trying to build these workstations to last 5 years. And that's the target goal, is to get a good solid 5 years out of it. And I think, for memory, the cost difference in terms of just upgrading from 8 to 16, that's one of the best investments you can make in the business.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is it's such a little cost difference generally that it's worth it just to be safe, even for future proofing it. So what do you use personally? You use the Surface Book, right?
Yeah, I have the Surface Book.
Yeah, and you're happy with that?
Love it. It's it's the second Surface Book I've had. I had the original one and replaced it with the upgraded one, or the more recent one. I've had all different types of laptops and stuff through it, and I think by far it's been my favorite. I think it's a very rugged device. I'm constantly on the go, closing the lid, running somewhere else, going to a business, going to the office, maybe taking it out on the boat. I don't know, but yeah, it's a very solid machine. It can. I don't want to say it takes a beating. It's not like I use it as a placemat for dinner, but it's a very solid
I'm pretty
build.
sure I've seen that.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's slick. It's very portable, and the display is great on it.
Yeah, so the big difference with that one is, the screen detaches, so you can use it as a 13-inch or a 15-inch tablet as well. Mm-hmm. I use the Surface laptop. Anybody that knows me knows that, especially with technology, it's very kind of shiny ball. I like to try the new stuff. So I had a Surface Pro at one point. I went from that to a Surface Book, and then that got damaged, and I ended up with a MacBook Pro, which I really liked, but I just didn't find myself as efficient on it because I didn't know the operating system. I had never really used a Mac before. So then I switched to a Surface laptop. And what I like about it is it's got the kind of the footprint and the lightness and size of that MacBook Pro that I really liked, but it's got Windows 10 on it, so I know the operating system inside and out. So that's what I really like. Looking at the devices that are out now, that Surface Pro X looks really nice, and then there's Dell's got a lot of different 2-in-1s and laptops and everything that that are certainly nice as well. And I think the one that we're really excited about right now, because we've got a few of them on order, is a new Surface Duo that they're not calling a phone, but it is a phone. I think I'm trying to remember how it was worded on their website. It was basically a business device that has a stylish phone built into it or something like that. Yeah, here it is. It says, redefine on-the-go productivity for your small business with the dual-screen dynamo that doubles as a stylish phone. So I thought it was interesting that they're not really, right? So we're interested to see it. It's a totally new dual-screen, tablet / phone. I don't know. We'll see. Super interested to see it, but we've got 3 of them on order for myself, Brian, and Abby, and we were all up for phone renewals anyways, and I was waiting for the new iPhone to come out before I ordered, and then this came out, and as I keep saying, if anybody's going to pull me away from iPhone, it's Microsoft. So we'll see how this goes. But again, it kind of goes back to my point of that shiny ball with technology. It came out, and I was like, ooh, I think I need to try that. So we'll see how it goes, but it looks like a really cool device. I'm excited to see it. It looks, I like that they're aiming it towards a business device and not just a phone for everybody, because I think if they were to do that, they would be, terribly disappointed, because there's not a lot of home users that I think are going to see this and go, yeah, I really need that. But from a business perspective, it does seem like it could be a great device. You know, a lot yet to be seen. You know, there's been some critique, I guess, on some of the technology that's included or not included, and you know, so there's a lot yet to be seen, but it looks like it could be a real good device. And it seems like Microsoft with their Surface devices have taken the time to get things right before they come out with them, unlike they may have done with the Windows Phone. Although I will say, I think I'm the only person in the world that absolutely loved Windows Phone. But I'm super excited to get this thing and try it out.
Yeah, same here. I think it's a very niche type device. But what I think they were smart about this time is, obviously they tried the Windows Phone in the past and it did not work out well. They couldn't get a lot of development for it. I think the phone was great. I thought the interface was good, but they just didn't have a lot of development support. So I think what's smart this time is the back end of this one is Android with almost like a Windows 10 overlay on it. So I think Microsoft does a good job of learning from past mistakes, adapting, and acknowledging, look, the Apple and Android, they've got the phone market on lock. They've got it figured out. So let's just pair up with one of them. Let's let them deliver the phone element, and we'll do what we do well, and that's produce a very good device, mobile device, and extend the business to your hands. So I think I'm very excited about it. Obviously, we pre-ordered it. I don't think it's out till the 10th, so that should be good. But yeah, again, that's another device where if you need to have productivity on the go, and if you're a executive level position or even a sales position in a company, this is a device where it's nice being able to have Office 365 at your fingertips and be able to use it functionally and use it as an extension of the business.
Yeah, that's one of the spots I really saw that it could be a good fit is on the sales side of things, because it's a full, you can have your contracts right on this thing. You could have people sign on it. Like, there's not that you can't do that with other devices, but having the dual screens is going to be nice. It seems like it would be a real good fit on the sales side. And then, like you mentioned, on the executive side, or anybody that needs to work on the go, I think it'll be a real good device because it's going to be real integrated with Office 365 or Microsoft 365 with their security, everything. So I think it's going to be a real nice business device. And, to your point, I think something that's been really good, and I think especially since Satya took over, is I think they've done a really good job of learning to work well with other quote unquote competitors, with Apple, with Samsung, and different Android providers. So I think that's what we're seeing here is them recognizing, okay, you know what, we're not going to play in the phone market, but like you said, we can build this device and then partner with somebody for the back end of the OS and really come out with a strong device. So that's at least my hope. Otherwise we'll be stuck with a device for a year or so.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see how it goes. Looking forward to it, and we'll certainly update everybody once we get it in our hands and get a chance to take a look at it. But it seems cool, so we'll see. But we appreciate you spending some time with us again today, and we look forward to talking to you again in a couple weeks.
Interact with Tech Talk Detroit at techtalkdetroit.com or on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.